Namaskar. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Manobendra Mukhopadhyay. My thanks to all of you here and particularly to the convener of this international seminar, Dr. Manini Mukhopadhyay, for inviting me to present my paper on the revolutionary impact of Rabindranath Tagore's Natir Puja. Watching earlier sessions, I have been thrilled to see other speakers evoking the concepts of Rabindranritya Shilpa I had identified in my doctoral thesis 20 years ago. My paper addresses a central question. Why was the 1926 performance of Natir Puja revolutionary? My thesis is that this performance proved pivotal in reclaiming embodied aesthetics within Indian performance culture and played a key role in the renaissance of Indian dance as the respectable cultural practice we see today. Dance in India evolved over 4 millennia as embodied ritual and aesthetic practice. We can find prehistoric communal expression in Vimbedkar rock art. We know about dance in sophisticated Indus Valley civilization represented by the famous bronze dancing girl. We can see the Natya-shastra's codification of rasa theory where performance aims to transport audiences into spiritual consciousness. And finally, there has been the medieval Devadasi tradition where dance became an integral part of temple rituals and life. Clearly, India had profound traditions of embodied aesthetics by the start of the 19th century. The 19th century brought catastrophic stigmatization of dance and dancers, particularly female dancers. Victorian evangelical morality introduced to India after the 1813 Charter Act opened India to missionaries, targeted dance as immoral. The anti-dance movement branded devadasis and tawais as prostitutes despite centuries of artistic tradition. By the 1920s, the movement was launching social campaigns and calling for measures to criminalize dance entirely. As a result, middle-class Indian families refused to allow their children near this once sacred embodied practice. In spite of this context, Rabindranath's vision emerged from diverse sources. In Brighton in 1878, he had seen that European social dancing was a respected community pastime. He felt that dance emerges when the body's conflicting elements, weight and movement combine to create dynamic art, calling it the music of the body. From 1919, at his school in Santiniketan, he introduced dance, initially disguised as rhythmic exercise, to sidestep the social stigma. His philosophy recognized embodied movement as a universal form of expression transcending language barriers by communicating through whole body language. The plot of Natir Puja directly confronts the dance stigma through allegory. Srimati, a palace dancer treated with contempt by the royal family, has transformed her life through her Buddhist faith. Envious of her popularity, Princess Ratnavali orders Srimati to dance before the Buddhist altar to desecrate it. However, something extraordinary happens. Srimati transforms the performance itself into sacred puja. Her embodied movement becomes communion with the divine, the body not as site of sin but as instrument of spiritual experience. This is embodied aesthetics at its most profound. The body as primary medium through which meaning and transcendence take form. The performance of Natir Puja in Santiniketan for Rabindranath's 65th birthday on 8th May 1926 with only female performers was revolutionary. For the first time in decades, young women from respectable families danced publicly on stage. Gauri Bose's performance as the Noti was described by artist Rabindranath Tagore as achieving higher consciousness, exactly the embodied aesthetic state Rabindranath envisioned. In subsequent Kolkata performance, Rabindranath added a prologue in which he himself performed the role of Upali, a low-caste Buddhist monk. In doing so, he physically embodied the play's challenge to both caste prejudice and dance stigma. This was not theoretical resistance from Rabindranath. This was embodied activism. The success of Natir Puja enabled Rabindranath to formally include dance in Santiniketan's curriculum and develop Rabindranritya. His unique dance style emphasized whole body expression rather than specific mudras. This made embodied aesthetic experience accessible across linguistic and cultural boundaries. This philosophy culminated in Rabindranath's three dance dramas, Chitrangada in 1936, Chandalika in 1938, and Shama in 1939. More broadly, it helped to legitimize Indian classical dance revival movements across India. It demonstrated that embodied performance could be simultaneously traditional and modern, spiritual and aesthetic. To conclude, Natir Puja represents a watershed moment in embodied aesthetics. It reclaimed the moving, sensing body as a legitimate site of spiritual and artistic knowledge. My paper shows how Rabindranath challenged Victorian ideals of women's sexual purity and social role in order to restore dance to Indian cultural life. In this centenary year of the first performance of Natir Puja, Rabindranath's vision resonates powerfully. The body as medium of transformation, performance as embodied devotion, and movement as universal expression, transcending the narrow domestic walls of cultural fragmentation. Thank you very much.